I openly talk about how I love therapy and I go to therapy willingly, like regularly, and I don't think I'll ever break up with her. And I was just like talking to somebody about it and come to find out we both go to her and we both love her. So it was very validating. And now I joke with her how I'm like, that person and I can start coming to therapy together and save money on it, even though it would be weird. Welcome to Seriously Catherine, a podcast about taking your business seriously, but not yourself. Okay, so this week's hot take was inspired by my amazing friend, Kathleen McLean. She is a leader in the Capital Region when it comes to equity, leadership, being a woman in leadership. She's amazing. She's one of those women in my life that I like to point out has an awesome business, awesome career, and also a really amazing marriage, or it seems like it, right? Sometimes she'll put unsolicited marriage advice on Facebook. And last week she posted marriage tip, learn to say I'm sorry. Well, first of all, wait, I have to go back to it because we got into a little conversation about it and then she changed the advice to add what I thought she should add. So anyway, the original marriage advice from Kathleen was learn to say I'm sorry, period. That's all it was. And I was like, well, also, how about we add learn to forgive? And then she changed it to learn to say I'm sorry and forgive. Thank you for adding the forgive piece, Catherine. And I'm like so excited to unpack this because I think a lot of girls and women right now are getting a lot of just like talking points about like, don't apologize. Don't say I'm sorry. I think it's important. I don't know. I just say I'm sorry all the freaking time. And then I read this book. I'm sure everyone has heard of Rachel Hollis. And she wrote the book, Girl, Wash Your Face. And then she came out with Girl, Stop Apologizing. And it resonates with me because I really needed to stop apologizing for no damn reason. But in marriage, you do need to learn how to say I'm sorry and, be vulnerable in that capacity. But I think another piece of it that I think a lot of people do not get right is to forgive. And I think I've talked about this on the podcast before, like forgive and forget. I think that you can forgive, like that's a skill that you can work on and learn how to do when it's appropriate, but you can't forget. You can never forget how someone treated you or something they said to you or a boundary that they crossed over, and you just can't never leave your memory. Like you can never forget that, but you can learn how to forgive and you can move on together with a lot of therapy, which I'm a big fan of. Jen is my therapist and she's totally going to come on the program because I will openly talk about how amazing she is. I'm actually refer her to everyone. Like everyone should go see Jen P.S. She's amazing. And then this one time, I know this is like total tangent, but I openly talk about how I love therapy and I go to therapy willingly, like regularly, and I don't think I'll ever break up with her. And I was just like talking to somebody about it and come to find out we both go to her and we both love her. So it was very validating. And now I joke with her how I'm like, that person and I can start coming to therapy together and save money on it, even though it would be weird because I don't know. I mean, I think some of our issues are a lot of the same. I'm very codependent. Anyway, back to my point about the marriage advice and what Kathleen put on Facebook. I loved it. Learn how to say I'm sorry. But I had to add in. I had to call her out and be like, yo, Kathleen, got to add in forgiveness. Because I think I have some friends who are going through it and deciding to separate and get a divorce. And I think time and time again, I hear the reason is they cannot forgive. And I think it's a really hard skill. You got to put ego aside and there's all sorts of things all wrapped up in it. But we're going to have Kathleen on the program because she's got to come in and sit in the chair and tell us all about it. I mean, this woman is a wealth of wisdom and she's willing to share it, which is just amazing. She's no gatekeeping here. Well, I just think it's because I have friends in my orbit that are going through the shit. And I think if they could just get out of their own way and acknowledge that that person fucked up and they are so sorry and they've said they're sorry and they've demonstrated that they really are, they were a horrible person. They did horrible things. But, again, I want to call myself out on judging. I don't know the whole damn story and nobody ever really knows what's going on in someone's home and behind closed doors and we have no idea. And I acknowledge that. I do. I guess in my experience, though, My husband and I have we've been married 12 years. We moved across the country with each other. That was the first time that we had ever lived with each other after dating I think we dated for like 6 or 7 years, and then we moved up here, then we got married. That was like the first time we ever lived together. We've been through it, man. We've been through ups and downs, and there's been some of that I've had to work through. Like, you know what? Like, that is in the past, and you gotta. And like, it's one of those things. It's not about letting it go. It's like, it's just about like accepting, like, that is what that's what happened. And we're both moving forward together. And at the end result is like, we want to be together. We want to have this awesome family and respect for each other. And so I think it's not just one of us apologize. All right, that's what I have to say about that. But listen, I am no expert in any of this. I'm figuring it out, and this is just in my personal opinion, and that personal opinion can change. So slide into my DMs and let me know what you think. I would love to hear about you and your stories and your experiences. Okay, so if you know me, you know that I love what I do, and I'm a workaholic. So if I ever have a chance to get away, I can't go too far away without my kids and without being so far away from work. The Adelphi is my go-to. What's really great about the Adelphi is that it has everything you need. It's right there on Broadway. It has a restaurant. It's got the breakfast joint. It's got it all. And the room service is amazing. So last Christmas, we did Christmas Day night at the Adelphi. We booked the Polaris Suite, which is really special because it has a hot tub on the balcony. And the kids loved it. It was so much fun. We ordered room service, and it was just like the most special thing. And again, it's got a jacuzzi. I mean, who doesn't want to use a jacuzzi at the Adelphi? If you don't have the opportunity to stay at the Adelphi, you can still go and hang out in their lobby or eat at their restaurants. The best sushi in town, by far, I believe, is at the Adelphi. You should get the rainbow roll. You can thank me later. It's delicious. It's absolutely the bomb. If you are local and you need a night off or a night away, don't go too far. Go right there to the Adelphi. Book yourself a room, have dinner there, have breakfast in the morning, and you'll feel like a totally different person when you wake up. This just in, Saratoga Living has published the 5 most popular dishes at 5 of Saratoga's most popular restaurants. Now, each of these dishes came from the restaurant, and this is like scientific. This isn't just somebody's opinion. This is like what people are buying at these restaurants. So the restaurants told us exactly what their top dishes are. And I'm so excited to share this and talk about it because I have an opinion. I mean, as you know, I support my local economy by eating out a lot. Lunch, breakfast, dinner, coffee, anything. I'll eat out. I love it. So let's dig in. No pun. Did you see what I did there? Okay. First up, Osteria Danny and the coconut cream pie, which does not surprise me whatsoever. If you have not had the coconut cream pie from Danny Osteria, what are you even doing here? Go there now. It's tough to get a reservation there. They do things old school. You got to call, you got to leave a message. Somebody calls you back. You may or may not get in. Track season is crazy. So take advantage of the winter wonderland that we have up here and go eat there. I mean, even just the rest of the food is good, but the dessert, that's like everybody does get the coconut cream pie there. Savor 'em. Next up is Boca Bistro and the stuffed dates. And I have a very strong opinion about this because I historically don't like dates. I don't think I ever had a date until I ate at Boca Bistro. Boca Bistro is like tapas style, Mediterranean. So everyone's sharing everything. And this is like when they opened and it was tapas and shareable plates. This is the first restaurant that ever did this in Saratoga. So OG. And somebody at the table ordered stuffed dates. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to eat that. But then I did. And they're bacon wrapped, which, I mean, anything bacon wrapped is gonna be delicious. Yes, I agree with the stuffed dates. Seneca pierogies, that's number 3. And not even number 3, they're just like all the top 5. This isn't ranking. I mean, maybe I should rank them at the end of this. But the pierogies at Seneca, agreed, they're delicious. This is another one. I don't think I had pierogies until I ate at Seneca. I mean, you gotta understand, Margie raised me on fast food. Like every night of the week, we were eating another drive-through establishment, which I was not complaining when I was 10. But actually, this is such a true story. And Mark will tell you, Mark's parents will tell you. The first time that I went there to their house, like meet them, it was like Thanksgiving or some sort of like holiday, like everyone was there. And they were like, anyway, I don't even know how to tell the story. I feel like Mark needs to tell the story. But there was like a point in time when I went to eat over there. And I would be like stressed about like what sort of food they would serve and like whether I would like it. I've always been like a pretty picky eater, like as an adolescent. And it's just like they are shocked every time that we go out to eat and they're like, wow, you ate that? Because they remember me as like only eating chicken fingers, French fries, and like fried food. Anyway, I don't know if that has anything to do with this. So pierogies, I'm a fan. Next one up is Karavali jackfruit kofta. I think I'm pronouncing it right. Kofta, it's a meatball-like dish that originated in Persia, is traditionally made with a mixture of ground beef and lamb. Okay, I'm in. Whatever it is, I'll eat it. It's delicious. But jackfruit with ground beef and lamb. I don't think I've ever had a jackfruit. Okay, correction here. I love this when I learn new things right away. So traditionally, kofta is made with ground beef and lamb, but at Karavali, I could have just kept reading this description. The meat is subbed for potatoes and jackfruit, a fleshy fruit that's a staple of a plant-based diet, and they're served with a coconut pineapple sauce. Okay, so I have a very strong excuse to go eat at Karavali. Karavali is delicious. I mean, everything on their menu is delish. Last up, I have to say that I eat at this restaurant at least once a weekend. It is the Henry Street Taproom Burger, and it's classic done right. I approve of this message. And Nail, should I rank them? I love a burger. So number one has got to be the Taproom Burger. I'm so proud. I'm so happy that like it's on this list because I support burgers. Also, Taproom is right 2 doors down from Paint and Sip. I have to also point out that Paint and Sip opened April 2012. Taproom opened, I think it was September 2012. So I influenced them to open up this restaurant right down the street from me. They may disagree that they were already in the inner workings of doing this, but, means to an end. We're both there now, and it's really cool to be next to them. They also just opened Kindred, which is the old flatbread, which RIP, the kids love the pizza at the Flatbread Social, but now it's Kindred, and the food is so awesome. And if you've ever been in there, it's so swanky. Like, you just feel so fancy when you're in there. Mark took Zia. They were going to go on like a daddy-daughter date, and he took her there. And I was like, why would you take her to Kindred? Like, I don't know if she would eat anything there because it's a very eclectic menu. Anyway, I digress. Next, my number 2 ranking would have to be the coconut cream pie. Also on Henry Street. This is not an ad for Henry Street. I'm a fan. So you go get a burger from Henry Street Taproom, then don't get dessert there. Go to Danny's. Again, you got to make a reservation for this place because you cannot just walk into Danny's and think you're going to get coconut pie and a table. No, you got to plan ahead. And then I would say number 3, pierogies. I would say number 4, jackfruit kofta. That is so interesting to me. I'm flipping them. Number 3, the kofta from Karavali, then pierogies, and then the stuffed dates. Because, again, dates, but they're bacon wrapped, so that's how they get in. All right, that's all I got for you. That's what's hot in Saratoga Springs from Saratoga Living After Hours. And if you want any information about anything I mentioned, you can go clickety-click the link in the show notes. Thank you for listening to this podcast. And if you want to connect with me, slide into my DMs on Instagram. My handle is Catherine Hover.